Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I will be discussing a very interesting topic with you, that is heat and process of heat transfer. So the first question arises, what is heat? Heat is basically a form of energy. You might have learned that sound is also a form of energy, light is also a form of energy. Similarly, heat is basically a form of energy. Now, before going to discuss what are the processes of heat transfer, first we must know that heat basically travels from a hotter object to a colder object. For example, if I am having a hot cup of tea or a hot cup of coffee with me and I am touching that hot cup of coffee or a tea with my hand. So the coffee is basically a hotter object, and in comparison to that hot coffee, my hand is basically a colder object. So heat will flow from that hot cup of coffee to my hand. Similarly, if I am touching a cold cube of ice, if I am touching ice, so ice is basically a colder object. In comparison to that, my hand is basically a warmer object. So the heat will be traveling from my hand to that ice, and due to which slowly the ice will start melting. So this means that there will be a flow of heat transfer always from a hot object to a colder object. You might have seen your mother also if she is basically boiling the milk, but not now in today's date. In the earlier days, what happens when they used to boil the milk and when there were no refrigerator, so they surround that milk vessel with a water tank, or you can say that a water tub, so that the entire hotness of the milk basically release out in that water, and slowly the temperature of milk gets cool down, whereas the water that is surrounding that milk vessel basically becomes cool, or you can say that they basically becomes hot. What happened? Why? Because there is a transfer of heat from that hot milk to that cold water, due to which the milk basically gets cooled down and the water becomes hot. So there is always a transfer of heat from a hotter object to a colder object. Now comes that there are three processes of heat transfer. The first process is conduction, second process is convection, and the last process is radiation. Now what happens when there is basically cooking taking place, and when you are turning the gas knob on and you are keeping the vessel on it, slowly what happens? The vessel start getting hot. So can you tell me that what is this mode of heat transfer? Yes, this mode of heat transfer is basically conduction. So what happens in conduction? In conduction, the particles basically they get energized by getting the heat energy and they become warm. So the process by which the vessel is getting heated up is basically the process of conduction, and conduction generally take place in solid case. Similarly, in your real life example you can take, if you are ironing a shirt, so what happened? That is also an example of conduction. If you are cooking something in a vessel, the vessel is getting heated up, that is also an example of conduction. Similarly, if you have kept some that serving spoon or that the thing by which you can take it out something, that vessel or that utensil is also getting heated up, that is also an example of conduction. Now comes to convection. How does the water boils? The water boils if you will give the heat energy to the water, the vessel is getting heated up, and similarly the liquid or the substance that is present in that vessel, they get heats up. So whenever there is a transfer of heat in any liquid or in any gaseous, so that is example of convection. Okay, so when there is a heat transfer in liquid or in gases, that is an example of convection, and due to this convection only there is land and sea breeze occurring. Have you seen that you have on the AC and the entire room get cool? It is how? Because the air around us is getting cooled, and that is why we are feeling cool. So this means that AC is also an example of convection current. Now come to the third process of the heat transfer, that is radiation. Radiation is basically one of the most amazing phenomena because it does not need any material medium. This means that it doesn't need solid, it doesn't need liquid, it doesn't need gases. And the most exciting example of the radiation is the earth getting heated up due to the rays of sun. So this means that radiation is basically a mechanism of heat transfer even in the vacuum. Suppose I am standing here and I am having a heater with me or a fire with me and my hands are little bit this much far away. But my hands or my body is getting basically heated up. So why it is so? It is because due to the radiation. So in winters you can get this example because you might be using heaters after some time and you can recall that that is a process of heat transfer by the radiation. Similarly, our earth is getting heated up. So our earth is getting heated up due to the process of radiation. There is a quick and a simple experiment for you all. Suppose you can take one vessel and you can keep in that vessel the metal spoon, the wooden spoon and the plastic spoon, and you can heat that vessel in the gas stove. After some time, if you will touch, which spoon will be getting more heated up? Can you tell me? Yes, you are correct. The spoon will be metal spoon. Why? Because metal is basically a good conductor of heat, but the plastic or the wood spoon will not basically get that much heated because they are not that much good conductor of heat. So this means that according to the heat transfer, we can divide particles into two types. That is, they are conductors or they are insulators. This means that the thing that will basically allow the heat transfer through them, that will be known as conductors like our metals, whereas the particles that will not allow the heat pass through them, that will be known as the poor conductors and sometimes insulators. So I think that with this class you will be getting the knowledge of heat, the process of heat transfer, and what are conductors and what are insulators. I hope you like this video. For more such contents, please do like and subscribe to my YouTube channel.